we're doing vlogs now. The reason I'm doing this is to document my self-growth and my self-healing and my mindset more of all. And I will be releasing a video every single Thursday until I feel satisfied with who I am and what I want to talk about. So right now I'm going through a breakup, and it is the hardest thing I've ever done because it's somebody who I really truly loved. You know, we've both made mistakes in the past, but the difference is, you know, when she made mistakes, I forgave her and I was willing to see the difference in her. But when I made mistakes, she hung on to them and she didn't say anything about them until it took her to a point of resentment where she was just ready to let me go and she was just done with me. And you know, I feel like love is choosing somebody. Even seeing their flaws, you're choosing to love them. And that's why I kind of feel unloved with it, even after 2.5 years, because I was willing to give her grace and opportunity and I didn't get that same thing back. So it just hurts because I was willing to give her all of these courtesies and I didn't get any of them back. And, you know, I made these mistakes when I was younger, and I'm a little bit older now, and granted, I still make mistakes because I'm a human being and everybody's going to make mistakes. But this breakup just hurts so bad because I have the key and I know how to make things work, but I don't have the opportunity to. And that's never gonna change. I'm never gonna have the opportunity to. And I'm ready. I'm done and ready to move on. I've got her blocked on all social medias just so I don't really think about her that much, which is kind of hard not to do. But you know, we made our mistakes and now we're going our separate ways, and I'm not gonna lie to you, I sat there and I begged. I begged and begged and begged. And that didn't change anything, you know. If anything, it pushed her farther away from me. So knowing what I know now, I'm never gonna beg. I'm never gonna even ask her to be with me again, and I'm ready to move on, and I accept that she's never gonna be with me again. I'm going to accept her as a learning experience, and I wish things could have been different, but you know, this is tough. It's hard, you know, because it's such an emotional whiplash, because a week before the breakup, she was saying that she, you know, did see a future with me and that, you know, all of these things. And she was actually supposed to move in next week from this video, and we had a cat together, and you know, so now I've got this place I go home to. You know, I work 60 hours a week and I'm exhausted every time I go home. I can barely drive, and I just go home to an empty home. We accept this cat, and this cat is so playful, but I just don't have the energy to take care of this cat. But I'm trying. You know, I'm trying my best. You know, I see the places where her stuff was supposed to be, where her desk was supposed to be, where this couch is supposed to be, where her mattress is supposed to be. And, you know, I've still got things around the house that she had left, you know, little notes and just little touches she put on the place that it just reminds me of her. That part just sucks because I gotta live in it, you know? Like, I don't get to run away from what happened, and I don't get to run away from everything. I have to live there, and I have to sit in it. But I'm in a lot of pain right now, so trying to work through it and trying to become better. Things I've done to fill the void, or you know, I've started going to the gym, and I'm picking up a hobby of creating these videos because it's interesting to me and I want to see myself grow. It has been the roughest moment of me. I would say actually the roughest moment of my entire life is trying to cope with everything that's happening, because I didn't just lose my girlfriend, I lost my best friend of 2.5 years, and that's not an easy thing to go through. But I still live where she was supposed to live, and I still see things that remind me of her every single day. And you know, I have to sit with the fact that she didn't choose me. She didn't love me enough to let me fix my mistakes. That's how it is sometimes. And I just have to accept her as a learning relationship. And what I've learned is, if somebody doesn't choose you and they don't actively make the effort to make things work with you, then they are not the one. If somebody does not want to make things work with you, or they're not present, or they're not giving the effort, then they're not the one. Because somebody who really truly wants you and somebody who really truly loves you will see your mistakes, and they will love you anyways. That's what I did for her, and I didn't get it back. So I have to accept that she really, when it came down to it, she did not truly love me. And that's a hard pill to swallow. And I know that she will say that she did and all of these things, but my own personal belief is that if she did love me, she would have went through the effort and the steps. And it's painful to move on like that, but I have to. Things don't seem the worst though when I compare them to my father. He told me a story about when I was still a little boy, My mom and him had just separated, and she was preventing him from seeing all of us kids, and he had no money to his name, no place to stay, just nowhere to go. And my mom had just gotten with a new boyfriend, and she was getting all sorts of money from our tribe and living with my grandparents, so she had no bills and all of this money, and she was, just riding around town with her new boyfriend. And my dad just did not want to be seen around. He didn't want them to see him like this. So he just started walking. He's out rural Montana, middle of nowhere Montana. He's freezing. He's walked so far, and he left because he just had to get out of Billings. He had to get away. So he's in the middle of nowhere, and he finds these hay bales, and he knows that hay bales, they will stay a little bit warm if you get in the center, or if you find a warm spot in there, they will stay and keep you warm. But he tries to climb in one, and it doesn't work. He's not warm, and he genuinely thinks, if I fall asleep in here at this temperature, I might not wake up. So he gets out of the hay bale, and he walks towards the road, and he just sits in the road, and he thinks, how did I get to this position? I've got no money, nothing to my name. How am I ever going to come back from this? And he just sits there. And then a sheriff comes through. So the sheriff picks him up and takes him to the next town and gets him a hotel room for the night. The one thing the sheriff said to him, he said, I never want to see your face again, is what the sheriff told my father. My father took his gift, and he went, and he said, he put his feet in the warmest water ever. He warmed himself up, and he had a cup of that hotel coffee, and it was the best cup of coffee in his life. And that kind of reminds me, with all of this happening, it feels like a kick in the ass, and it's so painful, but it's really a push forward, and it's really teaching me to enjoy the little things. When I do get into a relationship, which is pretty far out, it's gonna, remind me, enjoy the little things. Enjoy when she's actually putting in effort, and, enjoy when she's actually choosing to be with you. Those are things which I'm going to enjoy fondly. I'm going to enjoy those things as fondly as my dad enjoyed that cup of hotel coffee. Even though the coffee is basic, it's normal, it's not anything special, the effort that I will feel will be special to me. With her kind of kicking me to the curb and saying that, her not giving me the chance to show that I'm better, and her not giving me the chance to fix what I've done wrong, I'm always going to remember that. But I'm going to remember it as, I made mistakes, but I got kicked to the curb. And now I have to figure out how to enjoy the little things, how to enjoy life without her. And if and when I do engage in new relationships, which is a long while out, I will learn to enjoy those moments of love so much more. I will have learned that even those simple moments of care mean so much more. Those simple moments of love mean so much more than they do on paper. What I took for granted from her was when she did care for me. And, over time, her care and love for me faded. I can't change that, but now I'm not going to take it for granted. Now I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that I'm worthy of being loved, and I'm worthy of being somebody's man. I can't take these things for granted anymore. I have to learn how to enjoy the little things, and I have to enjoy even the small bits of effort and love. So that brings me to where I am now. I'm here. I'm working 60 hours a week. I'm getting through it. My current mental state is like, yeah, this sucks, but she doesn't want you back, man. You can't go back and beg. You gotta live with it. That's it for this week. I'm gonna keep working out. I'm gonna keep focusing on myself. Keep working. I transferred. I got out of the college that I was going to go to with her, and I ended up going to Montana State University, which is in Bozeman. So I'm moving out next month, and I'm getting out of Billings. Things are looking up for me, because this relationship ended, and it sucks that it ended, but it taught me so much more, and it taught me so many things I needed to know. So really a blessing in disguise. So that's it for this week. I'll catch you next Thursday. and I'll give you an update on how I'm feeling. You know, I'm having ups and downs. I'm having moments I'm really missing her and I'm feeling sick. And you know, obviously physically, your body's gonna respond to these things pretty stressfully. You know, I haven't been able to eat. I've dropped over 25 pounds. So, but that's how I am right now. And I'm having my ups and downs, and I'm gonna get better. And I know that. So I'll see you next Thursday.